first of all, I respect Peter Zeihan extremely highly, and I love all his geopolitic videos and his demographic videos. But this is a hot potato, and I don't like talking about these things, but the community asks, so I'll do it. So this is about 4 days ago, Peter Zeihan put out a video called EV's Not So Little Dirty Secret. It has had 200,000 views in 4 days. This is from Peter Zeihan on geopolitics. He's great. Now, again, I admire you greatly, Peter, if you're out there. And this is a question regarding crypto and Tesla. I will not jump into the crypto stuff because I am not too familiar with your stance on crypto. But I did watch your video, and I'm going to deconstruct my point of view counter to your points that you made about your dismissal of EVs and Tesla, etc. Now, the reason I'm doing this as well is I got peppered with so many questions about this video. And Peter, if ever you want to come on the channel, I'd love you to be here. I'd love for us to debate, talk about China, demographics, the future of the world. I am fascinated by that, and it would be my honor. So please, with all due respect, I'm going to jump in and answer these questions. So first of all, even if Tesla is not involved, the move and transition to electric vehicles, BEVs, battery electric vehicles, is happening, whether Mr. Zeihan likes it or not. And that's very, very clear by any data you look at. And in fact, the Chinese are already leaders in terms of volume. And I know, Peter, you have a point of view regarding China. Maybe it's a bit of a paper tiger, no birth rate. I agree with a lot of that stuff as well. But in the meantime, they're thundering along in this direction, and they will probably be the volume leader in EVs in the world very soon, if not already. I think they are already, actually. So let's talk about one other small little point. You refer to them as electronic vehicles. I call them electric vehicles. Most people do. It's just a moniker. And in defense of Peter, obviously, if he calls them electronic vehicles, he may not be immersed in the space, and that could be a reason for some of the things that he said. Next in the box, Peter in his video mentioned we need 10x more graphite and lithium, and that is, he's very concerned that the world has never 10x volume in a short window of time during its need, and that 10x volume will be needed over the next 10 years, and he doesn't see that happening. So regarding graphite first, it is plentiful. We are a carbon world, so there's graphite everywhere, so that's not really a concern. In terms of lithium, the Earth, according to some sources, has 88 million metric tons of lithium available, and there's also probably a lot more than that because it is a very, very plentiful resource. The problem is some of it, most of it is in Argentina, Australia, Chile, China, etc. And that can be a bit of a problem. Now back to the amount required per vehicle. It's 8 kilograms of lithium required per battery electric vehicle, which isn't a lot. So having 88 million tons on the Earth and probably a lot more, not an issue. But there is a downside. Now lithium we do agree, it can have environmental impacts. Because the extraction processes a huge amount of water and generates some waste. And the demand for lithium is expected to explode as we go forward. So we kind of agree there. But the point is, graphite is plentiful, so is lithium. And people like Elon Musk have focused very hard over the last 3 to 4 years of locking up the lithium supply that they need. In fact, so much so, they built a gigafactory that makes batteries right beside a lithium source. This is the Silver Peak mine. It's been in operation since 1966. And it apparently, from what I saw on the internet could be wrong, it is known for its high quality lithium deposits and has a capacity to produce up to 18,000 metric tons of lithium carbonate per year, which is massive. And also going back to Elon Musk, he always says, when he talks about his master plan part 3, he says, think in terms of tonnage. He forecasts very well. He's all about, how it can build Occupy Mars and a whole bunch of other stuff. But in terms of the tonnage required to be able to do that, and as well as provide the scale to be able to build EVs out. So I think he has that wrapped up. So I'm not concerned about lithium. Also, there was a piece in your video on Elon's politics. You said Elon tends towards the right. He spoke the right being the Trump and the conspiratorial right. And also, Elon has alienated his armchair environmentalists. So, Peter, you think that Elon has destroyed his market segment because they're offended by his right-leaning stuff. But one of the things that I do believe Elon's doing is bringing truth to the world. And second of all, he said, have you ever seen a conspiracy theory on Twitter that hasn't come true? So I think the world needs to kind of be aware is who should you trust? Who should you listen to? And I think the truth should be out there. Anyway, so we'll get off this topic. I just want to talk about that because you spent a lot of time talking about that too. Now, this is the More Freedom Foundation on YouTube. They had a point of view that, Peter, you're an oil and gas guy and you work with oil and gas clients, and you are a non-believer in renewables like wind and solar. So again, maybe that's just your background, who your customers are, etc. I could not find a list of your consulting clients if they are all oil and gas, but according to MFF, they could appear to be, and that could bring about some of the anti-renewable, anti-solar, anti-wind, anti-EV stance that you may have. Next is Zeihan on Cobalt. A very valid point. Cobalt is very controversial material due to its concern about the environmental and human rights impacts, especially in the parts of the world where it's mined. There's supposed to be some child abuse, but Tesla have made huge efforts to reduce the amount of cobalt they use in their batteries. And according to Electric magazine, Tesla, this was in early 2022, April 2022, nearly a year ago, Tesla is already using cobalt-free LFP batteries in half of its new cars. Not all is gone, but they're working towards that. And Elon Musk has said multiple times they want to move towards just purely LFP batteries in order to overcome the challenge with nickel and cobalt supply. So again, that's being dealt with, but valid point. Next, Peter, on Tesla's valuation. In your video 4 days ago, you said Tesla is priced as an information technology company and not a car company. And my response to that is Tesla make just over 1 million cars a year. Toyota make 11 million, but Tesla kicks off 20% more free cash flow. So I kind of wish, this is an interesting point, I wish people valued it like an IT company. I think they value it like a car company. And that's a huge part of the problem because people don't see the energy business. They don't see the AI business. They don't see the FSD, all the other good stuff that they do, or products that they could turn on like FSD and charge $15,000 pure margin for it. That is a huge piece that I think you're missing. And I don't agree. Also, you said every major company has an EV line and they have better range and better towing capacity. No, in terms of range, the category leader is clearly far and away Tesla. In terms of towing capacity and power, no EV maker generates as much power per kilowatt of energy that Tesla do. So I disagree with you on that one. You said as well, for Tesla to be priced, it has to fall 90% to match Ford and Chevy. I'll just ignore that one. I have my own thesis about those legacy ICE companies. Also, on the carbon footprint, you mentioned the fact that the carbon footprint to build an electric vehicle is insane. I did a lot of digging into this. So the car on the right, BMW X6M, over 4 years ago, that was my car. If I was lucky, I got 15 miles per gallon. I drive 15,000 miles a year. I burn. In the time I've had the Tesla Model X, which is just over 4 years, I would have burnt, if I kept the BMW, I would have burnt 4,000 gallons of gasoline, petrol, whatever you want to call it. And by the way, to produce 100 gallons of gasoline, you need 0.43 barrels of oil required. So a lot of oil. Now, to put that 4,000 gallons in perspective, this tank is what I would have burnt in gasoline in 4 years. So think about that as a carbon footprint. That is pretty staggering when you see how much a gas company burns, whereas my car over the last 4 years has burnt no gas, zero. And also in terms of carbon footprint, this was interesting numbers I pulled up. 4,000 gallons is 80,000 pounds of carbon, 37,000 kilograms, or 37 tons of carbon footprint. And that's a lot of international flights. Also, the average cost to manufacture a car, whether it's any car, EV or otherwise, is about 10 tons of carbon. So that means me not driving the BMW for 4 years has actually saved the manufacture carbon footprint of 4 vehicles. So I thought that was an interesting angle as well, just to share some numbers regarding going counter to your point of carbon footprint. So with that, that's kind of my counter to all your points. Net, EVs are coming. Net, the amount of waste and environmental damage done by oil, gold mining, etc., is probably far worse than lithium. Lithium does use a lot of water, yes, but it doesn't destroy the earth afterwards, and that can be testament to the plant that I mentioned in the US. Anybody can drive by and witness it, and that's it. So again, it is valued like a car company, but it's not a car company. That's where everybody kind of falls down. So with that, I would love to see you on the show, Peter.